Well, will she, won't she? Well, today she did land in Taiwan, that is. Speaker of the US House of Representatives, Nancy Pelosi. Amid escalating threats from China, House Speaker Pelosi is the highest profile US visit to Taiwan since 1997. Here she was earlier today.
Today, the world faces a choice between democracy and autocracy. America's determination to preserve democracy here in Taiwan and around the world remains ironclad.
We'll get into this and a whole lot of other things happening around the world with my wonderful Wednesday night panel. Joining me at the desk, former Labor MP Michael Danby and Sky News contributor Kosha Garda. Well, both of you welcome. I tell you what, I said before I went to the break, never really a big fan of Pelosi. I met her a couple of times in Washington, not particularly impressed. But I am impressed about the fact that she went there. I know she had support from the Republicans, not much support from her president. How significant was this trip?
Well, she's maybe domestically divisive, but she's principled on this, and I think she speaks for America. The old America that we loved before there was so much divisive politics in the States. And I think she's shown the Chinese a lesson. Unless they shoot a plane down between Taipei and her next stop in South Korea, she's a woman who long supported religious rights for Tibetans, civil rights for Hong Kongers, and America's got to show that it can't be intimidated by China, even over symbolic visits like this.
Absolutely. And of course, once the Chinese said, or the message came from Beijing, we don't want you to go, you almost have to go. What did you make of their reaction, Kosha?
It's saber rattling, and they know that there's a lot of dependence on China, on the supply chain and everything else. That's just the position that we're in, and they're definitely flexing their muscle in that. They banned some imports from Taiwan. They summoned the U.S. ambassador and issued a very stern statement against it. They conducted military drills. They didn't do anything more dramatic, like fighter jets escorting her out of the airspace, thankfully. So they're doing what they're doing. And I think the key question, Pete, as we've talked about before, is, this is great. I hope that it follows, and at some point, some administration in the Western Hemisphere will have to do this in terms of realigning and reestablishing symmetry against China, because it's just really lopsided in terms of what they're allowed to do in our countries, but not vice versa.